Greetings everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Challenges Guide. Now for those of you who are new to this series, or need a bit of a refresher, the Weekly Challenges are a set of 5 events that go live Thursday, Friday morning depending on your region. These usually consist of 4 races that are already in the game that may need to be unlocked, while the 5th one is a special event that takes place of a one-make race, a time trial, a mission challenge, whichever that week. So, without further ado, let's see what is on offer this week. So, kicking things off, we have the Sunday Cup Classic. It's a 2-lap race around Weathertech, Raceway, Lago, Seca, and requires a road car with a suggested performance points of 350. These usually tend to be pretty easy there, and you don't even have to have a car that's a classic, so to speak. There, you can use a modern one if you want. I usually tend to stay in theme, so this Alfa Romeo is what I've chosen for that. Now, let's go for a lap around here. So here we come out of the final corner there. That line could have definitely been better. But, onto the front straightaway here, or the front stretch I should say. And we go under the line to start our lap. And it starts off as a bit of an awkward left-hander there. So I'm going to catch you off if you're not used to that. So break right up that white line to the right there. And do the Andretti hairpin, second gear. And you want to go right accelerating here out of the corner there to get you some speed. Now we come over here to turn 3, second gear. Accelerate right past that sausage curve there. And turn 4. And these cars usually pretty easy to just let off. Cruise right on in and then accelerate right on out to the curb. Nothing will really happen to you. Not really going a lot of speed there. Next is turn 5 here. So you want to brake right about that 2 marker there. Third gear. Hold right on to the left. Then accelerate right on out. Now we head right up here to the bridge. And I usually like to brake the third here and then accelerate right there. I'm carrying a lot of speed. Obviously it's pushing it on the limits there, but it should be fine. And then we're coming up right here to the corkscrew, one of the trickier parts of this track. Want to downshift the second, right through the left, and then to the right here. Accelerate right on out. The widest possible, and then just glide in here, third gear, and accelerate. And do the same thing for 10 here, third gear, and just glide right on through there and accelerate right on out. And set yourself up for turn 11, all the way to the right here, brake at the 2 marker there. And then on to the power, coming right on out of here. And after some tricky there, if you've done everything just right, that should be a lap around Weathertech Raceway, Laguna, Seca. And now, on to the race. So here, the best spots for overtaking I found are the Andretti hairpin, turn 5, exit of 6, not entering 6 there because of momentum, corkscrew, rainy curve, and turn 11. And of course, you want to be where the AI in turns 3 and 4, 7 and 10 is where they tend to bunch up and wash out. So if you're going for a clean race bonus, you're going to want to look out for that. As their lines tend to be all over the place and can easily disrupt you quite a bit there. Next, the Japanese FR Challenge 450. This is a 3-lap race around Autodromo, Lago, Maggiore West. And you require a road car from Japan with an FR drivetrain and a suggested performance points of 450. And you can see some of the examples here. I don't have anything squarely in the 450 there, but I do feel like showing off, so I'm just using this RX-7 that I've done in the GTC thing, Gran Turismo 2. So let's go here. So we're gonna go into the straightaway here, prepare ourselves, and brake right under that sign there. The second gear. And then keep in second gear and use all this curve right here. Accelerate right on out. And then kind of go up a little bit and then back on the power just to make sure we get to the corner there and use all that curving there. Now this entire section here, if you got your car set up just right, it's flat out. You don't have to slow down, you don't have to brake, you don't have to lift. Full-on acceleration, you got all those curves to basically pull you through that section, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Now, of course, you're going to get to this bank corner here. You want to brake right about there before that sign comes up. Take all this curve here and accelerate right on out. And that'll get you all the way up through the corner. And again, these sections right here, if you set them up just right, are flat out. You just use these curves, set the angle up just right. You should be able to get through them no problem, and maybe you get away with something like that. So, brake down to third gear, use all this curve to the inside, you'll be fine. And once again, we'll brake down to second gear, mostly for traction, but you should be fine. And another left-hander, and we're going down this downhill left, which is very tricky to get. So I recommend third gear, and try to at least touch a bit of this curve right there to the left. And it should get you through this corner just right there, and all those curves. And that is a lap around Lago Maggiore West. Now, let's get to the race itself. So, the recommended places to overtake the AI here tend to be turns 1, 3, 6, and 8. A lot of clear-cut spots there for the AI losing momentum and you having a lot of speed. Beware of them, of course, in turns 2, 4, and 5, 7, 9, and 11. Their lines are kind of all over the place. They tend to wash up, and they usually bunch up in groups in these exact spots. So if you're going for a clean race bonus, those are kind of the danger spots there. Next, the American Clubman Cup 700. This is a 5-lap race at Watkins, Glen long course, so the full layout. A road car, freshly tuned from the United States. Suggested performance points is 700. You can see some examples here. Obviously, we used the Mustang last week, so this week I'm going to use the Camaro, the Z01 in particular. Good old GT4 build. And here's a setup if you're using a similar car here. Hopefully this will help you out the way it's helped me out. So, now let's do a lap around here and get you up to speed. So, down this front straightaway we go. And we're going straight into a downhill. So this is going to be tricky braking. So we'll brake right there at the 200 marker. Throw in the car there and accelerate right on now to this curve here. This first part out here is the S's. If you got your percept just right, you can go full throttle through here, as I am. And it's like a couple of tries to get the setup just right to do this, but once you do, you pretty much have all the momentum in the world to get by the AI. Of course, right here, brake right at the 300 mark, third gear. That's what I do. Carry a lot of momentum through there. Now I keep third going through the outer loop right here, so I can be prepared to get on the throttle and use that curbing on the exit through the short chute. And then brake right here. This is where we start these outside corners right here in this section of 6. Then we come up right here at the toe of the loop, second gear. It's a little outside, then pull inside and accelerate right about here to carry you right on down towards the fence here. So another downhill turn you'll have. Brake right about the 200 mark here for the heel of the boot. So right on now to this curbing here. We brake right about at 9, second gear. A little wide, but turn right in to get you power right on out. Then we're coming up to turn 10, so brake just before the 100 mark, and I tend to keep it at 4th because I can pretty much nail it at full speed. And then third gear for turn 11, accelerate right on out to these curves here. And this fast flow exchange, that is a lap around Watkins, Glen, full course. Now onto the race itself. And the best overtaking spots I found here are turns 1, the heel, the toe, and turn 11. Clear spots, not as much trouble, and you know exactly where everybody else is going. Beware the AI though in the S's, the inner loop, the outer loop, and turns 6, 9, and 10. Again, they tend to bunch up, and their lines tend to end up washing them out quite a lot. So again, if you're going for a clean race bonus, or if you're trying to make some clean passes there, those are some dangerous spots. Next, World Touring Car 900. This is a 12-lap race with 8 times fuel use, 8 times tire wear at Autodrome the Interlagos. 900 performance points, so pretty much these cars tend to be used there. In this, I'm going to use this Audi RS5 Turbo that I've already done before this race with. So, let's do a lap around here and show you the best way to get around the track, or at least how I do it. So here we are, going down the straightaway pretty quickly. And once that right about before that 50 mark, start braking. Second gear, the brakes on these are pretty much the best of all the cars there, so you've got to be pretty good on stopping power. Accelerate right on out, onto the curb there. And then you come right down to this point in turn 4. Brake right at that 100 mark. Third gear, I found works fine. Accelerate right on out here. And this is where you can really make use of the downforce of these 2016 cars as well as this DTM car for 2019. Fourth gear, and look at how I can just carry so much speed through there. So brake all the way down, and I experimented with first gear. It's pretty good with traction there, and I feel like you're not as bogged down in second gear. And same for these corners here, again, down to first. I feel like I get much more response. I do it in first gear than second. And of course here you can carry a lot of speed. And then this corner, downshift to second there, and accelerate right on out to this curve here. And pretty much it's all acceleration right here, full throttle. If you got an AI in front, don't forget to map that DRS button so you can take full advantage of that on this car in particular. And that's the lap around Interlagos this race. So let's get on to it and see the optimal strategy. So for this, racing mediums, having the optimal starting tire, good wear, good use without being too long, short shift for fuel saving, pit lap 9 to get off the mediums and onto the softs, splash of fuel if you need as well. And again, recommended cars are the 2016 Super GT cars or this Audi RS5. Again, don't forget to map the DRS button if you do, so you can take advantage of passing some of the cars there when you need to, especially the lap traffic. And finally, a special race, the Yangwang U9 One-Make. This is a 2-lap race around the 24-hour racetrack, featuring the newly added Yangwang U9. So, not much to say other than to get your car there, and this is one I've particularly modified, ironically for another race, but it just happens to be handy for this one. This is what I have. Sorry about the cutoff, so let's go for this race here. So, here this is going to be really tricky because a lot of the spots here are kind of different. So here, for instance, you get off the gas, turn in a bit, and then brake really hard over this section here, over these curves there, and then accelerate right on out to the curb here. You go past the no-knock bridge. Again, out of the gas in this section to turn, and then brake down to about 80 or so for this. Slowly accelerate, and then fully on the gas when you get right here. And then again, brake right here to this part. Accelerate right on out onto the straightaway here, and this is where all that speed comes out. And pretty much there. And you've got no gears to really give you any indication. So this took me a while to really figure out where was the best place to brake in this car there. But I did eventually find what I found was an ideal spot. So these signs here, brake right at that 100 board, or 200 board, sorry, down, and accelerate right out of the corner there. And I found those 200 boards to be very useful, because it's a lot of speed you're carrying into this car, so you are going to have to brake very early. Obviously because of the weight of the batteries, but also, of course, all that speed you have to roll down. And, again, there's no gears, so you don't really have a nice little reset to help you there. So again, 200 mark on the left side there, brake there. Again, carry a little bit, around 70 to 71 miles per hour through these. We'll on accelerate. And right on out of these corners here. Now these next series of corners, they tend to be a little bit tricky alone in regular cars, but they difficulty tends to get up a little bit when it comes to this car. So with this, I recommend braking right about here, just before that curb comes up to the right. Should slow you down just fine. Around the 45, then accelerate right on out here. And this is going to be another one of those tricky sections because the braking kind of is in a place where you have to turn a little as well as slow the car down. And we all know how sometimes that's a very tricky thing to pull off. So you get right up here on the side. You're right out here, and I recommend braking about there, just before you get to this corner, about a 120, and then brake hard again right here. Get it down to about 62 miles an hour. Accelerate again, and then brake just before those signs there to the right, 45 to 43 miles per hour. Accelerate right on now. And now the trickiest part of driving this car around this track here, and that's these Porsche curbs there. We know this car is already a bit tricky to get around corners there, so this is what I've devised. That's to brake here straight as possible, then let off and turn about 109 miles per hour. And you're going to be doing a lot of on and off and on, throttle on here, and then off of it. And kind of hover a bit there, a little on, a little 5 through there. You're still kind of floating on the throttle there, and then back on fully. That is how you get through those curves there. This car with its quirky handling there. And then the final few bits here, these 4 chicanes. So we brake all the way to about 76, that worked for me. And then this final corner here, about 57, 56. And then accelerate right on out. And that is a lap around Circuit de la Sarthe in this car. So let's get on to the race here. And ideally, you'll want to make overtakes just to make it easy on anything that's fast and doesn't have a lot of turns. That's it, really. And then brake at the 200 markers or early, just to be sure you can slow this thing down. So that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it, whether you've logged in or have watched a while. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell icon. So that's it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next video.